The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
C.D. Lamb, touchdown.
Parsons has sacked it. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Patrick Walker, Josh Rodriguez, and Kyle Yeomans.
It's a Monday edition of Talkin Cowboys presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, live from the Star in Frisco, Texas, and the SWBC studios. It is a sad Monday around the Star in Frisco. Josh Rodriguez, there we go, not only upset after the 44-19 loss to the New Orleans Saints, but he's doubly upset with the double box up top. Isaiah Stanback is in the building. We got Josh Rodriguez. Patrick No C. Walker currently doing his best Mario Kart impression. He is bebopping down 121. You ended up beating him. So both Isaiah and Patrick got stuck in traffic this morning, and then
That was a parking lot. That wasn't traffic.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was.
Whoever's on 121 today, be safe, because apparently
Seriously.
it is rough. There's Patty.
Oh,
What's
look
up,
at
Patrick?
here. Nice of you to join us.
Bro. What the hell is going on?
Well, and we thought it was just going to be me and Josh starting the show.
No.
And Isaiah pops in as the open's
That's
happening.
right.
And so Beamer's in the back. He had a 2-box up. And then he flipped it to a 3-box, but the 3-box was the empty chair, Josh and Isaiah. And then he put Josh in the empty
Flip it back to
3-box.
4-box.
And then now we've got a 4-box ready to roll, and then we're back to normal.
Hey, when I saw opening,
I hit it.
Listen,
At least Beam figured it out.
He did.
Beamer's a beast.
He made adjustments.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
I see what you did there.
He saw what was going wrong.
he changed
and he
it.
fixed it.
Oh.
You know?
see, I'm with you, Isaiah, though, because I chose to pull out the Charger today, and I went to Georgia. So soon as the opportunity presented itself,
Yeah, you hit that thing.
I put those UGA skills to use. So
Well,
I was Alvin Kamara out there.
Your ability to hit the hole was a little bit better than what the Cowboys
I was Alvin Kamara out there. I was left, I was right, I was A gap, B, C. I was running it wide. I was,
So early
Yeah, you weren't Ezekiel Elliott or Rico Dowdle.
I was
or
Alvin
Deuce
Kamara.
Vaughn. Yeah, okay.
Otherwise, I'd be later.
Let's talk about it.
44-19, the Saints dismantle the Dallas Cowboys
Yeah,
in
they
Week
did.
2 at home. It was pretty reminiscent of one playoff loss a year ago. It was almost carbon copy, except maybe worse in terms of the beatdown. I know the playoff game feels worse because it was a playoff game and it was 27-0, but when you give up 35 points in the first half, tied for the most in franchise history,
Ouch.
it's not good, Josh.
Yuck.
Ouch.
It's not good.
Big ouch. No, it just it like you said, it feels very reminiscent of the wild card week. Even a wide open tight end touchdown where we didn't even see him. Granted, they called it back, but like just beat by beat, it felt just like that. So the same feeling in the press box, the same sort of quiet, eerie, calm to the press box, and everyone is just sort of in shock of the performance that we're seeing in front of us. Right? It is just it was painful, but it is week 2. Although it looked like a playoff game, it is only week 2, right?
That's a great thing to remember in all of this, is that
Absolutely.
it's one loss. It only counts for one. You don't get doubled up. You're not automatically 1 and 2. Now, you can't allow the Saints to beat you twice because you've got a pretty good Ravens team coming to town this week. So
bit.
Angry one.
then you will be 1 and 2.
Pissed off.
Yeah. Or they're going to be 1
Desperate.
and 2. Oh, they're
They're
0
0 yeah.
Yeah.
So
0-2.
I think there's a worry amongst Cowboys fans, and Pat, I'll get your insight because you were in the press box there as well. It feels like, oh no, here we go again. Did a performance like that warrant a reaction?
I think that reaction is warranted. I don't think it's completely off base. And again, it goes to what you're saying, Kyle, in that this felt eerily reminiscent of January against the Green Bay Packers, and that's how it felt in the press box, as Josh can attest. It's, the opposing offense scores a touchdown on the first drive, then the second drive, then the third drive, and you're like, oh no, here we go again, and then the fourth drive, and so forth and so on. Went on to score touchdowns on their first 6 offensive drives of the game.
How many was that?
6.
First 6?
First 6.
Like, as in every single one?
Every
In a row.
single one.
Oh.
And like 3 points on a couple of those, right? Like field goals?
No. Touchdowns.
Tutties.
On the first 6 possessions. The Cowboys defense
So he scored
had,
6 on first 6.
Yeah.
You know, and it was interesting.
Yeah.
There was a stat. New Orleans had scored a touchdown on 15 straight possessions.
Yeah.
Or scored, I think it was just scored on
But
15 straight
were
possessions.
touchdowns.
Touchdowns against the Cowboys. They were able to do so on almost every possession against Carolina,
Yeah.
and then going back to last year as well.
And it was disheartening and disconcerting to see the Cowboys defense flying around like they did against the Cleveland Browns and all that talent that the Cleveland Browns have, and then completely flip to the other side of the coin and kind of revert back to what we saw against the Packers, unable to stop the run, couldn't get takeaways. They finally were able to get the takeaway, a la Donovan Wilson's interception, but prior to that, they couldn't get off the field on third down. It was like Dr. Strange had us trapped in January until we make a bargain with him. I mean, we were stuck in the time loop.
Do we need to do something? Is that what we? I mean, whatever it takes at this point.
Well, see, and then the
Figure it out.
added problem is that not dissimilar from January, where the defense cannot get anything done for you. The offense, they were getting drives, but they couldn't punch the ball in, right? You were trading touchdowns for field goals. And when you do that, you're going to get 44-19, if not worse. And the Cowboys had opportunities to make plays. I mean, there was the miscommunication from Dak to CeeDee Lamb. That could have been a touchdown. That's off the board, right? The potential walk-in touchdown to the right side to Ezekiel Elliott. Dak skips that ball. That could help change momentum. So there were plays to be made out
So
there.
you're saying it wasn't as bad as we think?
It wasn't as bad, but it was still trash.
Okay.
I mean, let's call it what it was. That outing was a trash outing for the Cowboys. Now,
In all 3 phases.
in all 3 phases, because special teams.
Well, 2 phases.
Oh, B. Aubrey did his thing.
Yeah. Aubrey is Aubrey, right? So when you said 3 phases, I'm thinking more so return game,
That's
right?
true.
Return game didn't
didn't do
contribute,
anything either.
like and that's not a knock on Turpin because Turpin did help them with a couple of returns as far as field position. But credit to the Saints, they kept kicking it away from Turpin on kickoff returns.
Yeah, it
They
was
were kicking it to
Wanye
Wanye and Darren DeWanye to do it, but it was one of the worst outings defensively that you will see. We still don't know what this team is under Zimmer. You have a phenomenal showing in Cleveland, and then they went to bed at home. Here comes the reigning NFL MVP.
That's going to be a tough one.
I'm just looking over some notes and stuff, and one of the things kind of concerning, Dallas Cowboys obviously didn't take care of business. There's no question there. But Alvin Kamara, he's kind of a dude. And they set him up to be a dude. And both the games now, including this most recent one, where he had 4+ touchdowns.
Yeah.
This game he had 4 touchdowns.
Yep.
His other game where he had 4+ touchdowns, I think it was a 5-touchdown outing. Both came against what coordinator?
Zim? Interesting.
You said it.
To your point, Josh, how you started to show off, no adjustments were made. Yeah. And that's what was concerning to me. We knew. We sat here. We talked about it on this show. We talked about it on Special Edition. We talked about it on Pregame Live. We talked about it on everything. All the I'm sure all the stories are written up. This team offensively was very dangerous if they were allotted time. That's what we sat here and said last week.
Yeah.
Right? We said if you
don't
get pressure on him, he will dice you up because he has the weapons, he has the speed. What we all assumed, if you're able to get back there and get some pressure on him, then he will throw some up to you. And they got to him one time and threw it up. Okay, got an interception. Good job.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, there was no pressure.
Correct.
Outside of that, there was no seemingly no creativity in terms of finding ways to create pressure. This team was on their heels, Dallas Cowboys that is, was on their heels the entire time. We knew there was going to be misdirection. We knew there was going to be pre-snap motions. We knew that all these guys did more than one thing. Okay, Alvin Kamara is a receiver and a running back. Taysom Hill's a receiver, a running back, a quarterback, a fullback, and a running. You know, it's like he's everything. Okay, tight end. So all these guys do versatile things. So you have to find a way to be aggressive early on, because if you are on the receiving end, you're going to receive the L, and that's exactly what happened.
For me, it was also one of the more concerning things is, and let's qualify it. It is week 2. It is week 2. It is not the playoffs yet. But here's why it's concerning for when the playoffs roll around, because this is still a 12-win team for me. 4 more losses to go. Okay, that's how I looked at it. Driving in today, I was like, okay, got one out the way. 4 more losses to go. Yep. But it's still a 12-win team. That being said, we talked about it going into this season in that it's not the regular season we're too much concerned about. It's what happens in the postseason. And going up against Clint Kubiak, you basically went up against Shanahan Jr. And if you struggle like that against Shanahan Jr. at home, guess what awaits you after the bye? And potentially, depending on seeding, what might await you in January, which might be a rematch with Shanahan. And that's where it really kind of gets concerning for me, because bringing in Mike Zimmer, making the changes, bringing in Eric Kendricks, adding Linval Joseph, adding Jordan Phillips, adding Carl Lawson, all of these guys, you're supposed to be doing this with the idea of, hey, 49ers, we're building for you. Obviously, we're building to stop the Eagles, but on the bigger picture, we're building to stop Kyle Shanahan. Finally get over that hump. Well, Shanahan Jr. just took you to the woodshed.
Yeah, he did.
So what's Shanahan going to do?
Well, and Matt LaFleur.
And
Sean McVay.
Yeah, that tree.
It's that whole tree.
The whole tree has given you absolute issues. And I asked this question yesterday on Cowboys OT. And when you go up against the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree, it's a similar system across the board, but each of those coaches has their own unique little twist to it. What was the twist from Clint Kubiak yesterday that kept Dallas completely off balance?
I just think that the versatility of each player. I don't think that Dallas had a solid approach. I don't think they knew how to attack New Orleans in their offense. I truly don't. I mean,
and what does that tell you this early in the season for a coordinator that has had all offseason and even beyond?
It felt as if he was still trying to figure it out. That's what it felt like. I mean, obviously, none of us know, right? Sure. But it felt as if in what his body language and just watching him on the sideline, it looked like he was lost. I'm talking about Coach Zimmer, right? And I'm sure he will figure it out. I am almost positive he will figure it out. But this was my concern this offseason when we started talking about defensive coordinators. You guys remember a conversation we had? We were talking about Zimmer. We were talking about Rex Ryan. Who can be the most creative? Because if teams can figure out what you do, can he adjust? He's been out the game for a minute, right? And he has a solid defense. When it works, it works. But when it doesn't work, can you adjust? And are you as fluid enough to create different matchups and create different looks to throw off the defense? Because that's one thing that I knew about Rex Ryan. I was like, Rex Ryan might get punched in the mouth defensively, but guess what? Oh, you're going to see some craziness coming in the next series.
You are going to see some craziness.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, that was one of my concerns is can he adjust and adapt as the game goes on? And this was our first opportunity to see that, and the answer was no.
Well, and I'll say this, and I'm curious what Josh thinks about this. The fact that Overshown came off of a maniac-level game against the Cleveland Browns, finishes this game with only 18 snaps. Now, a lot of fans are wondering and they're asking, well, no, see, why did Overshown have only 18? Well, it's because of the packages that the Cowboys were running. They ran mostly base. And with that being said, if you go back to what Mike Zimmer said in his press conference on last week after the win against the Browns, I think it was Mike McCarthy. It might have been Mike McCarthy, who were talking about Overshown versus Maris Leofold. It was McCarthy because I asked him about Leofold. And he said that he's trying to get Leofold involved more in the sub packages. Well, as it stands, DeMarvion Overshown is very involved in the sub packages, not so much the base. You saw a lot of base being run with Leofold in there, and this is not a knock to Leofold as much as it wasn't working. No. So where were the sub packages? So that's question one. Question two could be a spinoff of question one, which would be why isn't Overshown involved more in the base packages? Because you needed that speed against Alvin Kamara. We talked about it on Friday with your chest. I said I would spy Alvin Kamara with Jordan Lewis, and they didn't. Here we are. But Isaiah had a feasible plan as well, which was, okay, well, don't spy him. But Isaiah was under the premise that Overshown would play more and that speed would be out there. Well, neither of those things happened. So Overshown, 18 snaps.
I don't get that. I don't understand why you're in base so much throughout the game. Their first drive was scripted, but it was effective. It was perfect. It was pitch perfect.
8 plays, 80 yards, and it was just chunk.
Exactly. We just got knocked in. We got hit in the face consecutively over 8 plays, and the adjustments made after that where it's like, okay, let's still not involve DeMarvion Overshown. It's like, all right, that's fine. I didn't hear no bell, that whole thing. You don't have DeMarvion Overshown in there. That's a problem for me. And then on top of that, they stopped being creative. They stopped doing their motions that were obviously putting us on our heels, right? The moving the line and getting us out of position. But after that, in the second half, all they were doing were outside runs.
Yeah, edge to edge.
If you know what they're going to do, how do you not fix it? It's like, all right, you're not going to run this play anymore.
We talked about that last week, though. We knew that they were going to go sideline to sideline.
Yes.
We talked about it the whole time. It's a sideline to sideline. They want to get you moving sideways, right? And let's not just, this is not all Coach Zimmer, right? I don't want to, this is not a bashing thing on Zimmer, but he did not adjust. No. Call a spade, right? And I'm sure he's sitting there. If you go back and look at some of the sideline footage, he looked like he was trying to figure out life, right? And I'm sure he's going to go back and watch the film 1,000 times over, and he'll have to make adjustments, right? The game is moving. This game is evolving. You have to move with the times, right? Structure and discipline is awesome, but you got to move with the times as it goes. But also, these players were not getting off blocks.
Execution.
These guys were not getting off blocks, and I don't know, and none of us sitting at this table know what their gap assignments were or any of that stuff, but we do know somebody was responsible for them gaps, right? So, and guys were getting consumed by blocks, and they were getting out. I don't even know the best
word. Everything,
right? I'll say outmanned. It was concerning to me, the lack of movement we had going on the line of scrimmage. And that goes across the board. I'm not going to single out certain individuals, but there are people that are lighter in the butt than they once were before. And once you engage with some of these linemen, there was no disengaging. There was no shedding of blocks.
I would say names. I mean, you saw Micah Parsons walled up multiple times by tight ends. Since when has Micah Parsons ever been susceptible to being blocked one-on-one with a tight end? Ever. Never. How many times did you see Mozzie Smith on the ground? How many times did you see Jordan Phillips on the ground? I mean, it was not.
All got pushed back.
Everyone got bullied. Everyone on the defensive line got bullied.
We've talked about this with Micah, so I'm sorry to interrupt. But the one way we know how to beat Micah is to run directly at him.
Sure.
And to chip him and to run straight at him, because he doesn't know how to handle misdirection. And when you're coming towards him with several blockers and chipping him, there's just,
it's hard.
The size isn't there necessarily for him to make any run stops.
But also
in that.
And also, it's the unpredictability of Clint Kubiak in that from the Shanahan tree, they keep you so off balance, and that's why you have to get pressure on the quarterback. So our good friend Nicole Hutchinson, she was asking me after the game yesterday. She said, "Well, against the Shanahan scheme, like how do you stop the running back? Well, whether it be Christian McCaffrey or Alvin Kamara, you have to have someone assigned to them, right? Whether it's a direct spy or you look at a guy like Overshown and say, okay, well, that's your assignment, right? Maybe not necessarily a spy, but keep an eye on him. But when you don't have that speed or that commitment to that person, now it's going to make it more difficult to allow pressure to get back there against the quarterback. And then you see a Brock Purdy, or you see a Jordan Love, or you see a Derek Carr dicing you up because they get to sit back there, file their nails before they run through their progressions. Now, there's one particular play which was evidence to just how off balance Kubiak had them at that point in the game. They had attacked the edges so effectively, and they had stretched the field so effectively with Shaheed and over the top and Olave, Shaheed, make you forget about Olave, forget about him, and Olave, right? Now the linebackers are stretched side to side, right? Drop back. Here comes Micah Parsons. Let him run free. Because you know what we're going to do? We're going to dump it off right there in the middle now that the linebackers are playing side to side, and they're playing these assignments, right? Drop it off to Alvin Kamara. He has a convoy. It's a 57, 60-yard touchdown.
57-yard touchdown.
Right. That is how off balance they had the Cowboys yesterday on all three levels of defense.
But even when Coach Zimmer, and we broke this down after the game, right?
Game night.
And again, game night. Okay, so you guys go back and watch that. I'm sure it's on YouTube or something.
Actually, it is a really cool show, by the way. Just sidebar, game night, we revamped it into a film study. So it's an immediate reaction and immediate film work, and it's on the night of the game every week. So just go check it out if you haven't.
Yeah, DallasCowboys.com. Go check it out. But we broke down one of the plays, actually the Rashid Shaheed play, right, where he ran the post route over the top. Right call, right defensive call by Mike Zimmer.
Yes, it was.
Terrible execution by the players.
Yeah.
Okay. Malik Hooker stayed in his back pedal like he was shooting an Instagram video.
Something else happened on that play also, though. Something else happened on that play. But I don't want to be that guy because it didn't matter.
I'll be that guy. Michael Parsons got held.
Yeah, Michael Parsons got assaulted on that play. That touchdown doesn't happen. However, it's also true that while the refs completely closed their eyes and were whistling Dixie while Michael Parsons was being assaulted on that play, ultimately it didn't matter anyway.
So even if
it doesn't affect the secondary.
Exactly.
Both things are true.
Yeah, those are two different assignments, right? Obviously, they collectively come together for execution, but Michael Parsons, okay, he got assaulted. Cool. Wish we could have got the call, didn't get the call. But you don't rely on the call.
No, they probably would have scored on that drive later anyway.
Rashid Shaheed ran and doggone tap danced on the toes of Malik Hooker versus cover two. Two high safeties. Two safeties are responsible for staying back. Safeties. What's it? Safety means you're the last man. Safety.
You're the safety.
Right. There's two of them. Right? Coach made sure. Coach Zimmer called it to make sure that nobody got over the top. Well, the backside safety, Dono was trying to go and make sure he took care of the crosser. There's a crossing route that was coming across the face. Okay, so Donald's responsible for that. To check to make sure that's good. Yep. Rashid Shaheed gets up on the toes of Malik Hooker, nods him to the right. Malik Hooker opens his hips
and then
to the right, and then he literally just takes the backside post behind where Donovan Wilson was just at. Malik Hooker was supposed to be the furthest man back on defense, and he was not the furthest man back on defense. And if you have somebody who is literally 0.3 of a second faster than you, you might want to get out of your back pedal as soon as they get about 5 yards away.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rashid Shaheed is the fastest man on that field at that given time.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions there?
No. Zero.
Okay.
He was looking to the sideline. I mean, he was all sorts of turned around, and then by that point, Shaheed, all he had to do was just run to open space. That's it. And Derek Carr, I mean, give credit where credit is due. Derek Carr threw a phenomenal ball.
Good ball.
Yeah.
Phenomenal ball.
But we know he does it if he has
time
to throw.
That's why you needed to delete the time, but it had to begin with deleting Alvin Kamara. You delete Alvin Kamara, you would have deleted 60% of their offensive package, and you would have forced the game on Derek Carr. Now, of course, he still had Shaheed, still had Olave. He had those weapons, but by deleting Alvin Kamara, now you can shrink the field, you can shrink the width, and now you have to make him play within this pocket, and you can make him uncomfortable. But, man, Derek Carr was comfortable all game, and as a result, the Cowboys' defense was uncomfortable all game.
We were talking about it last week. Those weapons are legitimate. They are a threat. And we saw exactly how that was. I mean, I did a radio call in New Orleans on Friday. I did a radio call with the enemy team. No. And they were saying, what part of this team scares you the most or worries you the most going into this matchup? And I was like, the offense. And they were like, wow, that's the first time I think we've ever heard that the offense is what scares us going into this matchup. I was like, do you even watch your own team?
Right.
I mean, this team has weapons around them, and they showed them off.
3 straight games in a row now for the New Orleans Saints scoring over 44 points.
Yeah, they're legit.
They're real.
They're legit. Doesn't stop the fact that the Cowboys didn't play a good football game. They did not play on either side of the ball. We've talked about the defense. When we come back, let's talk about the offensive side. Yep. What went wrong for Dak Prescott and company? The ground game non-existent. I'm thinking about putting a milk carton ad out for the run game over the next couple of days. Let me know if that's a good idea or not. We'll be right back with more Talking Cowboys right after this.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
If you're looking for fresh American roasted coffee that gives back, you need to head to your local grocery store and pick up a bag of Black Rifle coffee. That's right, America's coffee is now available in the coffee aisle of a grocery store near you. Black Rifle Coffee Company is veteran-founded with a mission to give back to those brave men and women who have served our nation. Every bag, box, or can you purchase helps support that mission. Head to your local grocery store and roast yourself some Black Rifle coffee today.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
Life doesn't stop when the economy is uncertain. The market might not care you have a wedding to plan or a kid to put through school. And inflation doesn't know you've got a family to feed. But Bank of America does, and is here to help. With digital tools to help you save and local experts nearby, you can keep life moving forward the way you need it to. Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com. Bank of America N.A., member FDIC, equal credit opportunity lender.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Back here on Talking Cowboys as we review the 44-19 loss to the New Orleans Saints. This portion of Talking Cowboys is brought to you by Quaker Oats, the official oatmeal sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Quaker Oats, trusted since 1877.
Dag nabbit.
What?
Dag nabbit.
121 messed up my ability to get my oats in.
You didn't
this
get your
morning.
oats in this morning?
Yeah, I was right there with you.
That was probably like
my stomach is so angry right now.
That was the one pushback on the Cowboys' loss. You were like, at least I can still get my oats in the morning.
Yeah, I get my oats.
And not even.
Listen, I know we're up here mad, sad about the Dallas Cowboys. Listen, we can say it's week 2, but give respect to the New Orleans Saints.
100%.
Give respect
you have
to the New Orleans Saints. They are who we chose to think that they weren't.
They are legitimate.
They're a legitimate competitor. These guys
They are who we thought they were.
Seriously, their offense is legit. What they put on film last week is legit. It wasn't because of who they were playing.
Yep.
So don't want to make. There's no excuses here. No excuses are being made. There's accountability being had. There's no fingers being pointed. This is just being real. The Dallas Cowboys were not ready to meet the match that was set forth before them. The Saints are real, and you have to put some respect on it. So all that nation, I ain't gonna say the whole thing, but y'all respect. You guys have a good team, and never know. I might see you guys again.
Might
just might.
Yeah, they've never met in the playoffs before. It's the only NFC team the Cowboys have never met in the playoffs.
Wouldn't that be fun? And then it looks
I don't know if I want to see them in the playoffs right now.
I mean,
give me a couple of weeks.
No, man,
it would be fun though because
you got 15 more.
if the Eagles take this division, and I say that because it's damn near impossible to win this division 2 years in a row, right? And Cowboys won it last year. So let's say the Eagles take this division. Cowboys are obviously still in the playoffs because I think they're a 12-win team. And like you said, Cal, maybe the Saints run away with the NFC South, and it could be a situation where Cowboys now have to repay the favor at Mercedes. Yeah.
Caesars Superdome now.
Yeah. Oh, Caesars. That's right.
It's a new thing now.
That's right.
By the way, 44-19 was a scoregami, so a sad scoregami in the NFL.
Unfortunately.
Well, I was almost right on my score, but I chose the wrong team.
Me too, bro.
We chose the wrong team.
Yeah.
And for everybody out there that tweeted or not, do you call it tweet or Xtas? What do you call it? What do you call it?
I'm still posting. It's forever tweet.
Xtas. I'm gonna say Xtas. Everybody who Xtas, okay? Listen, my predictions were based upon the fact that Dallas was going to be able to get pressure.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest letdown for me because without pressure, you didn't stand a chance against these guys. You don't have the speed.
Non-existent.
You don't have the speed. As fast as your defense is, you don't have the speed the best of those guys. So going back and looking at some of the film, I was highly disappointed in our inability to get pressure on Derek Carr. And a comfortable Derek Carr with fast, versatile weapons is dangerous.
Yeah.
It is dangerous, man, when you can go out there. And that's one thing as we go to the offensive side that Dallas has to figure out. Because offensively for the New Orleans Saints, what do you have to worry about? I have to worry about Alvin Kamara. I have to worry about Rashid Shaheed. I have to worry about Chris Olave. I have to worry about Taysom Hill. I have to worry about all those guys.
Yep.
The Dallas Cowboys, you have to worry about CeeDee Lamb and Ferguson.
That's about it.
Yeah, that's all you're afraid of.
That's where the conversation stops.
Yep.
Like, I'm not saying that other guys are not capable of executing and making plays.
Cooks
but you're
could
not
be there,
Yeah, but you're not
he hasn't
threatened. By these guys.
No, he was there last week.
Yeah,
and for a touchdown.
Yeah. Cooks is a good player, but they haven't found a way to highlight him.
Of Cooks?
No.
Yeah,
not at all.
And you could be if he was utilized that way.
Sure.
But to date, they have not utilized Cooks in a way in which you should be fearful of him and what he can do to you. Fully capable.
Yes.
Fully capable. Has not been placed in that position. So I say all that to say Dallas has to get more creative offensively. And I'm not sure, as we turn to this running game, I'm not sure that we have the threats, and this was a concern, right? You have a Deuce Vaughn that is your change of pace back. But you can't just insert a Deuce Vaughn early on and give him 5 carries in the same type of scheme and think that he's going to have more success just because he possesses a different type of capability. You have to put him in a position to be successful, get him on the move, get him out in space, put him in the slot. We saw it in training camp, all those type of things. And maybe those things are coming because they're in the bag, right? But in terms of inserting him in and expecting different results, that's not creativity to me.
Well, and for New Orleans specifically, I mean, this is a team that had trouble, the key to slowing down New Orleans was getting pressure on Derek Carr, correct? The offensive line didn't do any favors to Dallas yesterday. The Cowboys' offensive line did not block up for the running backs. They did not block up well and hold a pocket for Dak Prescott. They didn't have a ton of time to work in trying to get those guys involved. I think you're right. I think if you're scared of CeeDee Lamb, you're scared of the vertical ability right now of Jake Ferguson. Brandon Cooks as a player is capable of being scary.
Yes.
Where he is right now in the Mike McCarthy play called system,
not scary.
It's not scary. He's utilized in the red zone, great. He had the big touchdown last week. That's awesome. He beat his man. The scheme worked out perfectly. Cleveland had no answer for it. Dak threw it up, and he's there, touchdown. That's all that I've seen from Brandon Cooks to this point. That's utilized him in a way that's efficient. I want to see more.
It's fair. And my prediction yesterday of 44-20, but in favor of the Cowboys, was not only predicated upon their me hoping that they got pressure on Derek Carr. It was also predicated upon this offense finding its way at home where they usually find their way. Okay. And unfortunately, they couldn't do it. It was a lack of miscommunication, lack of execution, and untimely penalties. So here, this is straight from my notes, right? So opening Cowboys drive, Saints march down the field with their scripted plays, so they get 7. It's 7-0. Okay, close game, no worries. Cowboys are marching down the field. You're like, okay, they're about to handle this. Holding penalty on Tyler Guyton. Stalled the drive. That created a 3rd and 18 situation. Cowboys ended up in a 4th and 9. That became a 52-yard field goal for Brandon Aubrey. Okay, well, second Cowboys drive, right? So now Saints march down and it's 14-3. Cowboys are on the move. Okay, Cowboys can shrink this lead a little bit. And what happens? 3rd and 10, Dak Prescott gets sacked because Terrence Steele blows the coverage on the right-hand side. Yep. That turned into a 4th and 15, which was a 38-yard field goal by Brandon Aubrey. Okay, Saints, they get the ball back, and guess what they do? They go down and score again. And now it's 28-13, okay? Still a close game. Cowboys, they're moving the ball, right? Let's see, 3rd and 10, Dak to Cooks. That was a good one, 11-yard gain. 1st and 10, Jalen Brooks stumbles and falls on the route. Interception. All right, and it kind of went from there. So whether it be miscommunications, because obviously after that you had the miscommunication to CD downfield, which could have been a touchdown. This game was still close. Right? So
they had chances.
They had chances. While the defense was wildly unable to stop this Saints offense, your offense could have matched serve with every single mistake that the defense did. But instead, after long drives, it was either a penalty that stalled it, it was a miscommunication downfield, it was a skip pass to Ezekiel Elliott in the flat that could have been a walk-in touchdown, it was a sack allowed by Terrence Steele that killed the drive.
Flag, holding call.
Holding call.
Whatever
So
it was,
it was a culmination of lack of execution, lack of discipline, and just not being on the same page. And that's where the concern for me comes, because if you had, so what are they, 3 touchdowns in the first 8 quarters to start the season?
Yep. 2 through the air, 1 on the ground.
Is that bad? Seems bad.
That's bad.
That's bad. It's bad. And it's, I think...
All right. Just double checking.
Exacerbated by the fact that whenever we were talking about it last week, I thought my key to victory or the key matchup for me was our offensive line versus their defensive line.
Oh, and really quickly, before you continue, and Marshawn Lattimore was out of the game. Go.
Yes. That as well. But we couldn't get any traction running the ball. like at all. There was no juice there. The fact that you start without Zeke was surprising to me. Like you're starting with Rico and you're starting with Deuce.
That didn't bother me.
That didn't surprise me because I told you guys in Science Lab ahead of the season that this is what the RB1 situation looks like.
Mm-hmm.
It's Zeke starts one game, Rico starts the next game, and they'll alternate. Deuce will get more, and then Hunter eventually we'll get to that.
Let me ask you this. What are you seeing out of Rico then? What are you seeing out of Rico?
Rico had some good bursts on those first couple of drives. He looked good. He looked good. Now, as the game wore on,
relative to Zeke, maybe, but I don't think this running back room has it. I've said that all along.
We're talking about to begin the game because his question, he's quantifying it as the beginning. Like, why was Rico over Zeke? Simply because they want to mix it up based on the opponent. I don't have a problem with that. I'm with Isaiah on that one. Now, I will say after the first 3 or 4 handoffs, it started to slow a bit. And then the game just became one-dimensional at that point. And then what do you want from your running game when you're losing 2 possessions, 3 possessions, and the game starts to wear on, and you have to drop back and pass, and they know you have to drop back and pass.
It's no threat of play action. It's no threat of the draw play. You're right. There is zero threat when it comes to the running game, which is why I'm saying why if we're not seeing it from Rico, why is he in the game? If we're not seeing it from Deuce. Granted, he had all of 5 carries yesterday, and it was they weren't great, and they weren't blocked.
He has some. It was a cloud of dust, but he has
4
some
carries
good runs
and a reception.
I mean, his runs should have been major negative losses, and he was able to squiggle his way out of some of those things.
So the offensive line is not helping.
The offensive line did not
and
do
Rico
their
got
job.
You some first downs. I don't think Rico played poorly to begin the game.
Zeke and Rico are one and the same right now, except for Rico's more explosive. That's why. That's how I would compare those two. I think that Zeke doesn't provide anything on the ground that anybody else in your backfield would not be able to provide.
He had a great improvised play down the field though when Dak kind of
agreed. I think he has that understanding of Dak, but he also that's your short yardage guy. That is your short yardage guy.
I don't feel as if Zeke. And there's no disrespect to Zeke, right? There's none. I'm just being real. I said this when he first came back. I don't think he physically has it anymore. I think he can block, and I think he can run the ball. He can do those things. But him handing Zeke the ball and saying this is the blocking scheme, and handing Rico the ball and saying this is the blocking scheme, you're going to get similar results, except for Rico's just going to do it faster.
Yeah.
Right? And then Deuce is their only cat who's shifty. Like, did you see Zeke in open space on a one-on-one? It's like a 20-minute shake move.
Well, and Rico wasn't much better either. I mean, there were multiple times. There were multiple times when Rico was outside. He was in space. He was one-on-one with the tackler. And I'm not comparing the two. But whenever you look on the opposite side, and you have Alvin Kamara doing what he's doing.
That's different.
That's different.
Planet.
Completely different planet because he's one of the best in the NFL. But if it's one-on-one in space with Alvin Kamara, you're not taking him down. I had zero faith, not even partial faith, zero faith that either Ezekiel Elliott or Rico Dowdle was going to get out of one-on-ones in space.
Correct.
And guess what happened? They were taken to the ground, no extra yardage. They're not even falling forward. There's no juice in this run game. I want to go outside and get somebody right now.
Or
get on the phone. Let's figure it out.
Before you do that, it's week 3. We talked about it last week, and I was asked, was it time for Dalvin Cook in week 2? And I was like, no, because he needed to ramp up. Week 3. It might be time to see what Dalvin Cook does.
And you will see Dalvin. Dalvin will come up this week. But again,
it's time to see what Dalvin Cook does.
And you will see Dalvin Cook again. But again, it's not solely that position group that has
I'm
the
not
issue.
saying don't go out outside of the bill. What I'm saying is see what Dalvin has first.
Fine.
And then make your make your decision.
And you're going to see that. I almost guarantee Dalvin Cook would get moved up this week and see what he has. But again, it's not solely the running back position. All we're highlighting is that majority of the running backs in the stable right now don't possess the ability to create.
No.
And that was my concern going into this. It's like they don't create, and you're not threatened. You don't have Zeke, Rico. They're not going to run over anybody and keep moving, right? The team we're about to face, they have a guy that does that. Okay, the team we're about to face, when they have a guy out in space, Hall, he does his thing in terms of being shifty, right? So you have a 1-2 punch in terms of abilities. Dallas doesn't have that right now, and that was a concern with this running back room. And yes, you have to block. Yeah, you have to block. But right now, with the stables that they currently have, if the blocking scheme isn't perfect, you're not going far.
No, and it wasn't perfect at all up front for the Cowboys. Lots to talk about on both sides of the football. When we come back, we are going to take a quick peek ahead to the Ravens because this is we need to.
Sure.
Because you got to learn from this. You got to learn from the offense and the defensive side, and whether it's going out and making adjustments from a roster building standpoint or making adjustments in-house, you got to make a change because 44-19 is not good enough, and we're going to have another team coming in that's hungry in Week 3. When we come back with more Talking Cowboys.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code Cowboys VIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code Cowboys VIP.
Welcome back into Dear Doctor, the show where I answer life's questions with an ice-cold can of Dr. Pepper. Sheila, let's hear from our next caller, would you?
Dear Doctor, my friend supported me during a tough time, but what's the right gift that says, thanks for being a shoulder to cry on?
Okay, this one's easy. I say give her a delicious Dr. Pepper. Nothing says, thanks, girl, better than a one-of-a-kind soda. Yes, any Dr. Pepper flavor will do. Now, just a reminder that I don't need to be a real doctor to know that Dr. Pepper is the one you deserve.
If you're looking for fresh American roasted coffee that gives back, you need to head to your local grocery store and pick up a bag of Black Rifle coffee. That's right, America's coffee is now available in the coffee aisle of a grocery store near you. Black Rifle Coffee Company is veteran-founded with a mission to give back to those brave men and women who have served our nation. Every bag, box, or can you purchase helps support that mission. Head to your local grocery store and roast yourself some Black Rifle coffee today.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
This segment is brought to you by Invisalign, the official smile of the Dallas Cowboys. Welcome back in, Talking Cowboys with Patrick Nosey Walker, Josh Rodriguez, Isaiah Standback. I'm Kyle Yeomans with Chris Beam.
I could be somebody else today, Kyle.
Isaiah. It's because you have all the ideas.
Yeah, bars. I don't have many ideas right now. I just have problems that need to be addressed, and I don't want to sound an alarm. I mean, this is not an alarm sounding situation, but it's. I was more. You know what made me uneasy? You know, we talk about bubble guts on this show a lot over the recent years.
Is this the first bubble guts?
This is the first bubble guts, absolutely.
Okay. Oh no!
I got the bubble guts because if something's going wrong offensively, you look at your quarterback, and then you look at your OC, and you see their responses. Yeah, right. I'm looking at their body language. That's why body language is so important for positions of power in the game of football and sports in general, right? Yeah. You got to look at your leader.
You look at your pitcher in baseball. You look
does he look nervous? Does he look confident? Player. Does he just look frustrated? Like whatever it is.
Yep.
When they were showing Coach Zimmer on the sideline, did you guys see? Mm-hmm. He looked like
I wasn't watching the broadcast.
He was like
eyes to the field.
I know for those who are listening right now, he was biting his nails and he was looking like I don't know what unsettling, like
not the Oppenheimer,
like Talladega Nights, yeah,
not the Oppenheimer gift.
It was Talladega Nights. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah,
and that was concerning to me because to me, perception wise, and I could be wrong, right? But just I'm a viewer. To me, it looked like I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
like you know what I'm saying? Like that was what I had. Here you go. Okay,
didn't work.
This is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Crap. I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
like
if he had a bow tie.
It was the most. I don't even know disconcerting thing to me because it looked like there was nothing else that he can go back and grab. Like there was no other bag to go get.
Yeah,
I'm out of ideas.
I think it was largely because, and there were plays that in that scheme that he definitely wants back. My biggest knock against the scheme, because as much as I praise it against the Browns, and rightfully so, my biggest knock in a loss like this is the decision of how often they ran base versus the sub packages that would keep DeMarvion Overshown off the field. I keep coming back to that. But then as kind of a dovetail to that, most players did not execute well. So if you're Mike Zimmer and you're having a combination of, well, you're not making the best decisions because you should run more sub and get DeMarvion Overshown on the field, but also the plays that you are calling well that should have worked, the execution is lacking. So then, like Isaiah said, you get the Oppenheimer gif where he's just like, I don't know what to do next because that was a perfect play call. It should have worked. Well, it didn't work because gap integrity wasn't sound. It didn't work because this player or that player missed their key, right? So in that aspect, you're just getting Michelle'd for the rest of the game. You're just getting Michelle'd.
And that's the thing. Execution, alignment, assignment, all of those things were not there yesterday. They were not there in the loss against New Orleans. And I think there are times where your execution can help save a bad play call.
Okay.
But there are times where your execution can make a good play call go to the side. I want to ask this question real quick. We did get a tweet from Brian. He said, does a loss like this defensively cause the defense to lose faith in the scheme and a play caller, or is it too early for that to be the case?
Too early, but there is a question mark, just like the Mario box.
Ding! Like what
is
you
it
guys
a
were
coin
playing?
or a fire flower?
I don't know yet.
Is it the star?
What you guys were playing earlier?
Yeah, there's a box. It's over your head.
Okay,
it's over your head because now you're concerned. I'm still listening to you, Coach.
Yep.
But I got questions, right? And if we go in here this week and Derrick Henry runs for 120 on us,
here we go.
Yeah,
I think it. There it is. There it is. The coin. I mean,
there you go.
Okay. I get overreactions, but it's too soon. It's week 2.
Yes,
it's week 2.
It's week 2. If this were to happen again, not only next week, but 49ers, right? Because you have to circle that. If it happens against the Philadelphia Eagles, Detroit, then, okay, that question mark becomes larger and larger. But, again, it's week 2, and Mike Zimmer has split the difference so far. He's had a sensational game, and his players executed to a sensational level against the Browns on the road against a very talented Amari Cooper-led passing attack. And then it wet the bed the following week.
Yep.
Which version of those two things is actually the Mike Zimmer defense in Dallas? We won't know for the next several weeks, and that's why we're saying it's too early.
You can't let this performance on the defensive side of the football happen again. You cannot.
No, you cannot.
And if you want to go anywhere in the postseason, this cannot happen a single time.
And at home.
Just don't expect anything out of the postseason if you see a performance like this on the defensive side of the ball one more time.
But is it concerning to you that Kubiak had a relationship and knew what Zimmer does and was able to expose that?
Yeah, he was their quarterback coach for Zimmer in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
is that concerning to you? Because this was a scheme as much as it was a player thing. This was OC versus DC.
Sure.
Yeah. It was.
That's probably why there was a little
good news is good. The good news is that there are not 29 other head coaches from the Shanahan tree, right? So
not yet.
That's the good news. So again, this is a 12-win team. 4 more losses to come. Don't know where they're coming. Okay. That being said, in order to hit the next level, in order to not only get to the postseason, but get to the conference game, to get to the Super Bowl, you're going to have to beat a Shanahan offense. It might be Kyle himself. It might be LaFleur. It might be Kubiak again. You're going to have to beat it. Yep. So that's where the concern comes in.
Got to figure it out.
So I know we got to get off the air. Going into next week's game, right? I know we're going to start previewing that here soon, but what is the one thing that you're most concerned about or feel as if needs to be addressed before next week's game?
From Cowboys
side it don't matter what side, what third of the game or coaching or whatever.
There's a lot of things.
I know.
Being physical on the defensive line and getting pushed.
You got to win the trenches.
Getting
front seven.
On what side of the ball?
Cowboys. Defense
side of the ball.
Front seven.
You
can't get out physical like that on your front four, and then your linebackers. They have to execute better. And I love the accountability that Eric Kendricks took yesterday. Yep. And he was like, one thing about Alvin Kamara is he'll show you a front fit, then go to the back. Mm-hmm. And he'll show you a back fit, then he'll go to the front.
Quick.
Yeah, so Kendrick struggled after a maniac game again. Mm-hmm. But again, also help your linebackers out by putting one of the more talented ones out there more often in Overshown.
Thank you.
So front seven.
So front seven for you. What would you say?
Same. Getting pressure with the defensive line. That's my biggest key right now.
Yeah, I'd say defensive tackle gap assignment. because there are a lot of times when you go back and look at the film, guys that were supposed to be taking up multiple gaps, or at least it looked like that, were getting washed out by one guy, single team, and then it floods your linebackers, and they have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say defensive tackles. You got to be way better.
Okay.
Way better up front.
I'm going to say offensive creativity.
Okay.
I don't disagree with y'all. I'm just saying that if for whatever reason you find yourself in a game where your defense can't stop an offense, you have to be able to match. And right now, Dallas's offense is not matching.
Not yet.
Not yet.
44-19 final score. Cowboys fall to New Orleans at home. They've got a Week 3 matchup looming with the 0-2 Baltimore Ravens.
Desperate.
They're what?
0-2.
They're desperate.
What happens if they go 0-3?
MVP. They've got a lot of questions in Baltimore too. Just as many questions as if Dallas goes 1-2.
You know what your playoff odds change to?
Exactly. So you're saying how important is this game for them?
Massive. Very.
Extremely.
Got you. Just wondering.
We'll take your calls tomorrow. We've got Talkin Tuesday, 888-855-2297. Write it down right now so you can be a part of our Talkin Tuesday, 888-855-2297. Isaiah Stanback will be on the NFL Network. He'll be on Good Morning Football tomorrow. Wednesday too, right?
Correct.
So tomorrow and Wednesday he'll be on the NFL Network, and we'll catch back up with him on Thursday. That does it for us today. Thanks for listening. For Chris Beam, for Patrick Nosey Walker, for Josh Rodriguez, Isaiah Stanback, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long from the Star in Frisco. We'll see you tomorrow with more Talking Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!